The emergency beacon started screaming at 0400 hours, and I knew, right then, that my peaceful career as a mid-level security analyst for the Galactic Assembly was about to become significantly less peaceful. My name is Trev. Just Trev. Single syllable, easy to remember, harder to forget when someone's threatening to vaporize you. Which, given my line of work, happens more often than you'd think. I dragged my third and fourth arms across the holographic display, pulling up the distress signal coordinates. My eye stalks twitched involuntarily. The signal was coming from Sector 9, the quarantine sector. The place where we locked away things that should never, ever see the light of day again. Oh, fantastic, I muttered, my translator chip picking up the sarcasm and broadcasting it to my empty office. Because nothing says great morning like a prison break from the galaxy's most secure vault. The signal's origin point made my blood run cold. Or rather, colder. I'm Veltorian. We run cold to begin with. But this was the Deep Lock facility. The place where 60 years ago, the Assembly had sealed away something so dangerous, so utterly terrifying, that even the records were classified above my clearance level. I pulled up what little information I could access. The file name alone made me want to resign. Project Phantom Tide. The human warship. Humans. Of course it was humans. Look, I'm not speciesist. Some of my best colleagues are carbon-based life forms. But humans. They're a special kind of insane. The kind of species that looks at a star going supernova and thinks, I wonder if we can surf that. I transmitted an emergency alert to my supervisor, a hulking Krellian named Voss who had all the warmth of a frozen asteroid. His response came back in exactly 4 seconds. Handle it. Personally. Report in 6 hours. Handle it. Right. Handle the thing that required a pangalactic coalition to capture in the first place. Sure. No problem. 20 minutes later, I was aboard a skipship, hurtling through hyperspace toward what I was absolutely certain would be my doom. My pilot, a chatty Zentari called Pip, seemed entirely too cheerful about the whole situation. So, Trev, she chirped, all 6 of her wings fluttering with excitement. What do you think broke out? Plague beast? Reality-eating parasite? Ooh, maybe one of those temporal bombs that erases you from ever having existed. Worse, I said, checking my plasma rifle for the 3rd time. A human ship. Pip's wings stopped mid-flutter. Oh no. Oh yes. But they locked that thing away because it single-handedly destroyed the Korthax Armada, I finished. 400 warships. Gone. In less than 3 hours. And nobody knows how. The silence that followed was delicious. Finally, Pip had nothing to say. We dropped out of hyperspace 12 minutes later. The Deep Lock facility hung in the void like a broken tooth, half its structure sheared away. Debris floated everywhere. Emergency lights flickered in patterns that probably spelled help in 15 different languages. And there, right in the center of the destruction, sat the ship. It wasn't massive. That was the first thing that surprised me. Maybe 3 times the size of a standard cruiser. Sleek. Dark. Almost organic in the way it curved and flowed. No visible weapons. No obvious propulsion systems. Just smooth, dark metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. That's it. Pip whispered. That little thing destroyed an entire armada. According to the reports, yes. Well, she said, her voice climbing an octave, I suddenly remember I have a very important appointment literally anywhere else. Too late. We're scanning for survivors. The facility's distress beacon was still broadcasting, which meant someone inside was alive. Probably. Hopefully. Maybe. We docked at one of the intact airlocks. I suited up, checked my weapon again, 4th time, but who's counting, and stepped into the corridor. The lights were out. Emergency strips along the floor provided just enough illumination to see the carnage. Something had torn through here. Walls were scorched. Support beams were twisted. And there, painted in what I really hoped wasn't blood, was a message in Galactic Standard. IT woke up. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Nothing ominous about that at all. I moved deeper into the facility, following the emergency beacon signal. The corridor opened into the main observation deck. That's where I found Director Corliss, the station commander. Or what was left of him. He was slumped against a console, 3 of his 4 arms clutching a data pad. He wasn't dead. Not yet. His eyes focused on me with desperate intensity. Trev, he rasped. Assembly, sent only you? Apparently I'm expendable, I said, kneeling beside him. What happened? Power surge. Maintenance, routine. But it triggered something. The ship's systems. They came online. He coughed, a wet, horrible sound. It's not empty, Trev. We thought it was abandoned. Derelict. My blood went from cold to frozen. You're telling me there's something alive on that ship? Not something. Corliss gripped my arm with surprising strength. Someone. Human. Been sleeping. 60 years. His eyes widened. She's awake now. And that's when the lights came back on. All of them. Simultaneously. The facility hummed with restored power. A voice echoed through the speakers. Female. Human. Absolutely dripping with irritation. Attention, unknown species currently trespassing in my personal space. You have 30 seconds to explain why you imprisoned my ship before I demonstrate exactly why your predecessors were too scared to destroy it. I looked at Corliss. He looked at me. Pip's voice crackled over my comm, panicked and shrill. Trev. The ship. It's powering up. All weapon systems are. Oh stars, I've never seen energy readings like this. The human voice continued, counting down with the enthusiasm of someone ordering lunch. 20 seconds. 19. 18. I grabbed Corliss's data pad and ran. Running through a space station while a cranky human counts down to your potential obliteration is not how I imagined spending my Thursday. Yet here I was, sprinting like my life depended on it. Because, shockingly, it did. 10. 9. 8. Wait. I shouted into the nearest comm panel, sliding to a stop so fast I nearly dislocated 2 of my knees. We didn't imprison your ship. We just got here. I'm basically a janitor with a fancy title. The countdown stopped. Silence stretched for 3 very long heartbeats. A janitor, the human voice repeated, sounding distinctly unimpressed. The Galactic Assembly sent a janitor to deal with me. That's either incredibly insulting or hilariously appropriate. I can't decide which. Security analyst, I corrected, because even facing death, I have professional pride. Look, whatever happened 60 years ago, I wasn't part of it. I was barely hatched. I'm just here to investigate a distress signal and prevent, massive loss of life. Including mine. Especially mine. Another pause. Then, unexpectedly, a laugh. An actual, genuine laugh. It echoed through the facility's speakers with a warmth that seemed completely inappropriate given the circumstances. All right, janitor analyst. You've got guts. Stupid guts, but guts. Come aboard. Alone. Unarmed. And if you're thinking about trying something clever, remember that I vaporized 400 warships before breakfast last time I was awake. Pip's voice exploded in my ear. Trev. Are you insane? Don't go in there. Do I have a choice? Yes. The choice is called fleeing. It's a popular option among people who enjoy staying alive. I looked down at Corliss's data pad. The files were encrypted, but one folder was labeled Truth Protocol. My curiosity has always been stronger than my survival instinct. It's a character flaw, I'm aware. If I'm not back in 20 minutes, I told Pip, tell Voss he was a terrible boss and his retirement party was boring. Trev. I cut the comm and walked toward the docking bridge connecting the facility to the human ship. The airlock opened with a hiss that sounded disturbingly like a predator's warning growl. Inside, the ship was nothing like I expected. No sterile metal corridors. No harsh lighting. Instead, it looked almost comfortable. Organic curves. Warm amber lights. The walls seemed to pulse gently, like they were breathing. And everywhere, absolutely everywhere, were plants. Growing out of wall panels. cascading from ceiling fixtures. Humanity's bizarre obsession with bringing nature into space, apparently. "Welcome to the Nightfall," the voice said, now coming from all around me. "Try not to touch anything expensive." Which is everything. I walked deeper into the ship, following the lit pathway. It led me to what I assumed was the bridge. Or command center. Or perhaps just her living room. With humans, you could never tell. She was standing with her back to me, working on a holographic interface that displayed star charts I didn't recognize. Tall. Dark hair pulled back. Wearing what looked like a standard military uniform that had seen better decades. She turned, and I got my first clear look at a living human. Her eyes were brown, tired, and filled with an intelligence that immediately made me nervous. A small smile played at the corner of her mouth. "So," she said. "You're my welcoming committee. Charming. I'm Captain Mira Vale. And you are?" "Trev. Just Trev." I held up the data pad. "And I have questions. A lot of questions. Starting with why the assembly locked you away like you're some kind of galactic nightmare." Myra's smile faded. "Because they were afraid. Afraid of what we could do. Afraid of what we represented." She gestured to a seat. "Sit. You look like you're about to collapse." I sat today. Mostly because she was right. 60 years ago, Mira began, the Korthax Empire decided Earth was a nice place to strip mine. We disagreed. They sent their armada. We sent the Nightfall. She leaned against her console, arms crossed. And yes, we destroyed them. Completely. Efficiently. Without breaking a sweat. How? The question burst out of me. No visible weapons. No obvious systems. The energy signatures don't match anything in our databases. "That's because we didn't use weapons," Mira said simply. "We used physics. And anger. Mostly anger." She pulled up a holographic display showing the Nightfall engaging the Korthax fleet. "See, humans have this funny trait. We're really, really good at holding grudges. And when you threaten our home, we get creative." The display showed the Nightfall creating localized gravitational anomalies, turning enemy ships into impromptu black holes. Redirecting stellar radiation into focused beams. Using the enemy's own shields against them by creating harmonic resonances that tore vessels apart from the inside. It was beautiful. Terrifying. And completely insane. After we won, Mira continued, her voice harder now, the assembly thanked us. Then they politely asked us to let them study the Nightfall. For science. For protection. For the greater good. She laughed bitterly. We said no. So they knocked me out with neural suppressors, locked my ship in this facility, and tried to forget we existed. "But why keep you alive?" I asked. "If you were that dangerous, why not just eliminate the threat?" "Because they couldn't." Mira tapped her temple. "The Nightfall is neurally bonded to me. Kill me, and it becomes a very expensive paperweight. Keep me unconscious, and it stays dormant. But wake me up." Her grin was sharp. "Well, you're seeing the results." I looked at the datapad, finally accessing the encrypted files. The Truth Protocol. And there it was. Orders signed by Assembly High Command. Suppress the human. Study the technology. Never let them leave. "They were going to reverse engineer your ship," I said quietly. "Weren't they?" "They tried for 60 years, Mira confirmed. Failed spectacularly, from what my systems tell me. Turns out you can't copy something that requires a human to function." She stood up, stretching. "So here's the situation, Trev. I'm leaving. Taking my ship and going home. And anyone who tries to stop me is going to have a very bad day. And if I let you go," I said carefully, "the assembly will assume I helped you escape. They'll arrest me. Interrogate me. Possibly feed me to something unpleasant." Mira studied me for a long moment. Then she smiled. "Or you could come with me. Be my liaison to the galaxy. Help me navigate whatever mess has happened in the last 60 years. Plus, I make excellent coffee." "I don't drink coffee." "Then you're missing out." She extended her hand. "What do you say, Trev? Want to be part of something legendary? Or would you prefer to spend the next decade explaining to bureaucrats why you failed? I looked at her hand. At the ship humming with barely contained power around us. At the choice between probable death and certain tedium. I shook her hand. I'm definitely going to regret this. Probably, Mira agreed cheerfully. But at least you'll have stories. The Nightfall powered up fully, reality bending slightly around its hull. Pip was screaming something about an authorized departure over the comms. Corliss was probably still unconscious. And Voss was going to kill me. But as we punched into hyperspace, leaving the facility and 60 years of imprisonment behind, I realized something important. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in the galaxy isn't the weapon. It's the person holding it who just woke up annoyed. And humanity. They wrote the book on annoyed.
Hello everyone. If you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, don't forget to support our channel. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We regularly upload amazing, informative, and entertaining content just for you. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to bring even better content in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome to our growing community.